Saudi Arabia has plans to launch a state-controlled sports media company to manage and secure broadcasting rights in a move that will shake up the multi-billion-dollar bidding wars for the right to televise elite sporting events in the Middle East. Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Fasai, the sports minister, there he is in his Formula One gear, told the Financial Times that the Saudi sports company would create a, quote, platform for content development and managing TV rights. The move comes as Saudi Arabia uses its financial muscle to lure an increasing diverse array of global sports events to the kingdom. So, can Saudi Arabia succeed in this venture to boost its sporting image? Joining me to discuss this is sports analyst Tunde Koiki. Tunde, you're welcome. Good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
When we think of Saudi Arabia, we think of oil. What do you make of their attempts to, I guess, with this sporting company here, become a regional sporting hub?
Well, it's not surprising. Just 4 years ago, Saudi Arabia launched what is known as Vision 2030. That is their attempt to look forward and try to win their economy of oil. Basically, it's a strategic framework whereby they can stop their dependence on oil and increase investment into other sectors like healthcare, tourism, and so on. So it's part of what they've been casting a very interesting eye at what is going on at Dubai. In Dubai now, 75%, less than 75%. 75% of their earnings does not come from oil. They're not an oil-dependent economy anymore. And of course, you do know that oil is a finite natural resource. So Saudi Arabia are looking beyond oil. So with their Vision 2030 strategic framework, they're looking to go beyond that, whereby they can have an economy that is not reliant on oil in the future.
So do you think there'll be any concerns about this sports media company being state-controlled?
The issue of state control is an interesting one. beIN Sports, or the beIN network that we know that is owned by Qatar, actually used to be part of Al Jazeera. Now, Al Jazeera is the Qatar state-owned media network. beIN Sports was excised from it; it now became the beIN Media Group. It is still in some parts owned by Qatar. It is now a limited liability company, yes, but there are ways whereby you can work around it, whereby the state does have some kind of nominal interest in it, but to all intents and purposes, it is a private or limited liability company, which means that they can trade as it wants to without the hassle of being state-owned, as it were, and it can conduct business. So I don't see any issues regarding that because there are multiple ways to work around it.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. So it was recently confirmed that Saudi Arabia had secured the rights to host the Formula One motor race for the next 15 years, I think beginning next year. Are there any competition worries if, a state media company is to secure, has broadcasting rights to those events and basically muscles out anybody else that will want to get rights to broadcast those races?
Okay, so the way it works is these media companies, they buy these rights and they, sublet or sell to other broadcasters. So as it is, I don't see any problem if the Saudi Arabian, the upcoming Saudi Arabian media group buys these broadcast rights and sublets to other companies. It's standard practice all over the world. And considering the fact that there's quite a lot of money on the table here, we heard that Saudi Arabia is paying as much as $40 million every year for the next 15 years for the right to host this Formula One competition. It's quite a lot of money at stake. So if the Saudi Arabian authorities also say they want to control the broadcast rights in order to gain some kind of leverage or also to get back some kind of investment, return on their investments, I don't really see a problem in it. And that's most likely what will happen. Don't forget, the Saudi Media Group is not set up yet, but in future, when it is set up, you can expect them to bid for these media rights and probably get them whereby they can sell to other interested parties across the world as well.
Stuff. I'm glad you mentioned beIN and them, the Qatar-owned company, because apparently Saudi Arabia was involved in a bitter 2-year dispute with beIN. beIN accused the Saudis of setting up beOutQ, like a piracy network which illegally broadcast material that beIN had exclusive rights to. Apparently the WTO ruled in favor of beIN. Does something like this, is it a stain on Saudi's image? Does it present any hurdles to the Saudis' mission to set up this sports media company and then, I guess, broadcast for rights in the future?
Not at all, because the Saudis have a tremendous amount of global influence. and they also have a tremendous amount of money. The public investment fund, which is which is the asset management arm of the Saudi government, has assets worth almost $400 billion. So money is not an obstacle. And also the Saudis, do I say their adeptness basically at building bridges across the world, which is all, some like say, oiled by this financial muscle that they have, shouldn't be a problem as well. I know a lot of people might want to think that because of their running in the past with beIN, they might not be able to get these, but I really don't see it as a problem. The money is there. Also the ability to build bridges is also there. The willingness on the part of the Saudi authorities is also existent as well. So it's not going to be a problem.
All right, and this question of human rights, I have to touch on this here. Human rights advocates have, of course, accused Saudi Arabia of attempting to sports wash its image and divert attention away from its human rights abuses. Of course, there was the case of Jamal Khashoggi in 2018 and all that's happened. What do you make of that? What do you think the human rights issues, could there be a hurdle to what they're trying to do?
There might be, because the truth is Saudi Arabia is quite guilty of major human rights violations across the world. Of course, you did mention the literal butchering of Jamal Khashoggi in their embassy right there in Turkey. It's also interesting to note that Saudi Arabia has managed to secure rights for an F1 race, considering the fact that they are jailing activists, women activists who are fighting for the rights for women to drive in Saudi Arabia. It's incredible. I'm not forgetting that Saudi Arabia has also been a major, instigator of probably the biggest but most untalked about humanitarian crisis in the world right now. Saudi Arabia is leading the major military incursion in Yemen. They've committed 100 warplanes and over 150,000 troops, which has impacted very negatively on the people of Yemen. We are talking about a famine that is affecting 20 million people, I beg your pardon. They're in desperate need of food, water, and medical care, and also the fact that there's a massive cholera outbreak that has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 outbreak as well. All these are in the column of human rights abuses of Saudi Arabia. So it will be an issue. And what is sports washing? Sports washing basically is the use of major sports events or purchasing of major sports teams in order to, get people to look away from the human rights abuses. And Saudi Arabia has made some impact in that direction. Last year, they paid $60 million to the WWE to host a WWE event in Saudi Arabia. Last year, they also paid $40 million in order to stage a world title boxing match between Anthony Joshua and his Mexican rival as well. So it's a major concern for a lot of people, and it might be an issue going forward.
Thank you for that. In fact, I think they're planning a unification bout between Joshua and Tyson Fury, right, sometime in the future. So, okay, so look, they've got a lot of money, Tunde. You've already established that, and they're throwing it around. So, you think it looks like would they be successful in being able to suppress any of these? Would the sports washing possibly work because they've got so much money and can throw it around?
Well, it might and it might not work. We have seen in instances whereby, despite all their money, despite all their leverage, despite all their clout, the Saudis have been turned back. Just between this year alone, they tried as much as possible to buy a English Premier League club, Newcastle. The Saudi private public investment fund that I said is worth almost $400 billion, tried to buy Newcastle for $300 million. Now, because of their issues regarding their piracy issues regarding beIN, and also partly because of the human rights abuses that they've been accused of, especially the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, that basically stalled their ambitions to purchase an English Premier League club. And that might be an issue for them for going forward. So it's not going to be everything in their own way. They will have issues whereby they will come up against some strong opposition. But that's the reason why some people coined that term Arab money for back in the day. It basically opens quite a lot of doors, but there might still be some that will be shut in their faces.
Fantastic stuff. Sports analyst Tunde Koiki, thank you so much for taking us through Saudi Arabia's plans to launch a state-controlled media company and seeing how they can overcome hurdles in the future to becoming a regional sports hub. Thank you so much, Tunde.